Caitanya Bhāgavata von Vrindavan das Thakur, verse 32, 42. The reactions of Gauranga by hearing the glories of the Lord's lotus feet. Hearing the glories of the Lord's lotus feet from the brāhmaṇas, the Lord became absorbed in ecstatic love. As the Lord looked at those lotus feet, tears flowed from his eyes. His hairs stood on end, and he began shivering. Lord Gauranga then began to manifest devotional service out of love for the benefit of the entire world. The brāhmaṇas were startled to see tears flow from the Lord's eyes like the unbroken flow of the Ganges. Sri Īśvara Purī sees in Gauranga the Supreme Lord. From verse 46. By the divine will of the Supreme Lord, at that moment Sri Īśvara Purī arrived at that place. On seeing Sri Īśvara Purī, Sri Gaura Sundar respectfully offered him obeisance. Īśvara Purī was also delighted to Sri Gaurachandra, and he happily embraced him. In the ecstasy of meeting each other, they both became soaked with tears of love. The Lord said, "My journey to Gayā has become successful the moment I was able to see your lotus feet. If one offers oblations to the forefathers in a holy place, then the forefathers are delivered. But one delivers only he to whom the oblation was offered. By seeing you, however, millions of forefathers are immediately freed from material bondage. Therefore, holy places are not equal to you, for you purify even the holy places. Please deliver me from the ocean of material existence. I surrender myself unto you. I beg that you make me drink the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet." Īśvara Purī said, "Listen, dear Pandit, I know without doubt that you are an avatar of the Supreme Lord. Can anyone other than an avatar of the Supreme Lord possesses the extraordinary learning and characteristics that you have? I had an auspicious dream last night, and today I have obtained the fruits of that dream. O Pandit, I'm telling you the truth. I'm feeling great ecstasy. The very moment since I've seen you. From the time I saw you in Nadia, Navadvip, my heart has had no other attraction. I'm speaking the truth, nothing else. When I see you, I feel the happiness of seeing Krishna. Hearing his beloved Īśvara Purī's truthful words, the Lord smiled and said, "It is my great fortune." In this way, the two exchanged many other pleasing words, which will be described in the future by Ved-Vyasa. The Lord then took leave of Īśvara Purī and went to offer oblations to his forefathers. The Lord went to the Falg river and offered oblations to the forefathers with sand. Then the Lord went to Gayā on top of the hill. Sri Sachinandat offered Shraddha at that place and then satisfied the brāhmaṇas there with sweet words. After duly delivering the forefathers, the Lord happily went to Dakshina Manas. He next went to Sri Ram Gayā, where he had previously performed Shraddha as his avatar Ramachandra. In this avatar he again performed Shraddha at that place. Thereafter, Lord Gaura Hari went to Yudhishthira Gayā. Yudhishthira Maharaj had previously performed Shraddha there. Out of affection for Yudhishthira, Gaura also performed Shraddha there. All the brāhmaṇas there sat around the Lord and directed him in the procedures of the Shraddha ceremony. As the Lord performed Shraddha and offered oblations in the Vata, all the resident brāhmaṇas grabbed the offerings and ate them. Sri Sachinandan, the son of Mother Shachi, smiled on seeing this, and thus the brāhmaṇas were freed from all material bondage. The Lord next offered Shraddha at Uttaramanas. He then went to Gayā. Thereafter, the Lord performed the prescribed rites at Shiv Gayā, Brahm Gayā, and finally at Shadasha Gayā. While at Shadasha Gayā, the Lord faithfully offered Shraddha with 16 Shodasha ingredients on behalf of all his forefathers. Thereafter, the Lord took path at Brahmakund and offered oblations at Gayā. The Lord then personally worshipped Lord Vishnu's footprints with flower gardens and sandalwood paste. After completing his offerings of Shraddha and satisfying the brāhmaṇas at all the recommended places, the Lord returned to his resident room. The pastime of cooking. After he took some rest, the Lord then sat down to cook. As soon as the Lord finished cooking, Īśvara Purī arrived there. Īśvara Purī's head was rolling back and forth in ecstatic love as he arrived there, chanting the names of Krishna. The Lord immediately left the kitchen and, after respectfully offered obeisance, he seated Īśvara Purī comfortably. Īśvara Purī smiled and said, "Listen, O Pandit, I see you've come at the right time." The Lord replied, It will be my good fortune if you accept your meal here today." Īśvara Purī smiled and said, "Then what will you eat?" The Lord replied, "I will cook again." Īśvara Purī then said, "What is the need for cooking again? Divide whatever you have in 2 portions." The Lord smiled and said, "If you really want to please me, then eat whatever I cooked. I'll cook again within a moment. You take your meal without hesitation." The Lord then gave his meal to Īśvara Purī and happily went to cook for himself. Īśvara Purī's mind never deviated from the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore the Lord bestowed such mercy on him. The Lord served Īśvara Purī with his own hands. And Īśvara Purī thus ate in great ecstasy. At that time, Ramadevi, the goddess of fortune, quickly cooked for the Lord, while remaining unseen by all. Then, after the Lord fed Īśvara Purī, he happily ate himself. One who hears about the Lord taking his meal with Īśvara Purī will achieve the wealth of love of Krishna. Gaura Premanande.